again, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on another edition of the Adam Jones Podcast from Africa and beyond. We're here in Baltimore. AJ out somewhere around the world. I think I just
none of your damn business where I'm at.
We're brought to you, of course, by our friends at the Baltimore Banner. They present this podcast today. In episode number 24, we'll be joined by Orioles Hall of Famer Brian Roberts and talk to him about the way things have been going for the Birds and his thoughts on the rule changes in Major League Baseball as the Orioles begin the home portion of their season this week. Also ahead, Adam and I are going to discuss the best ballpark food around the major leagues. Adam's had a sample of almost every type of cuisine, or cuisine as some call it. We'll see if Oriole Park at Camden Yards made his list. We'll talk about Lamar Jackson, still in peril, find out what's going on with number 8 as the Ravens and him seem like they're at a stalemate. Will they accommodate him? We'll discuss. We'll also talk about, are we going to pay, speaking of paying, the world's richest man to have a blue check mark next to our names on Twitter? I think we'll have some opinions on that. And speaking of social media, stick around for the end of this podcast. We're giving away not one, but 2 Miss Shirley's gift cards to a very formidable winner or winners who acknowledged our podcast. But we begin with the Orioles Hall of Famer, 14 years in the major leagues, Brian Roberts, joining us here on the Adam Jones Podcast. B-Rob, good to have you here on the Adam Jones Podcast. Appreciate you joining us from, I believe, Sarasota, Florida, where I just got a chance to see you at that Athletes and Artists event a few weeks ago. So you're still around the ball club. In what capacity are you involved with the team right now these days?
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me. I just do a bunch of different odds and ends, whatever they ask me to do. I do some stuff for the Angeloses and the ownership group. And then I'm going to have a couple games of broadcasting this summer up in Baltimore. So looking forward to getting back up there and doing a couple of those. And went to spring training for a week as a guest instructor / ball picker upper. So that was fun. Yeah, but it's just good. You know how it is.
Really? They made you do that?
Oh, man, you know how it is. Those guys aren't picking up balls. When you're in the show, somebody else picks up the ball, not you.
Hey, and now I swear to God, I think that's what drove BJ the most nuts was the fact that he had to pick up balls. I swear, it made him just so miserable. But I want to say, you've been working as a special assistant to the ownership for the last few years and been in spring training. How do you see the O's potential? Obviously, you were part of an early rebuild before I got there, and you were part of the early rebuild, and then now you see a completely new Vanish rebuild. How have you seen their new talent?
Yeah, I was a part of a rebuild gone real wrong, so I'm hoping this is a rebuild gone real right. Ours took way too long. We had like a 13-year rebuild. I don't think that counts, bro. This one's gonna be. They've done an incredible job. Like the amount of young talent that they have gathered in a short amount of time is insane, dude. When I showed up this spring, I was just in awe of the size and speed and maturity of their young talent, especially their infielders and their position players. Just crazy how big and strong and fast they are. It was fun to be around. They're going to be phenomenal to watch. I know everybody in Baltimore is excited. I was excited just to kind of be there and take it all in.
I mean, you were around with, obviously just like you said, you get to see Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, and I mean, plethora of just talent. I can go on names and names. And you were around at the same time with the addition of Matt Wieters.
Yeah.
So how do you think that transition in terms, how was that time compared to, is it 12, 13, 14 years later? We got Adley Rutschman. How is that? Like saying the transition took a long ass time, but how do you see from Matt Wieters, a catcher, generational catchers? Now we have generational catchers in our organization.
Yeah. No, I think you start up the middle, as you know, and when you can have a guy like Weedy, you can have a guy like Rutschman to build around, more so because they're in, as we all know, they're in the midst of everything, right? They're calling pitches. They're running the show on the field. And so having Matt to begin that rebuild, 10 or 15 years ago was huge. And then obviously when you came over in the middle of the field, out in center field, and then JJ Hardy came and kind of filled in that gap in the middle of the field. I think that's where it all begins. And so when you look at Rutschman, obviously you got Sed in center field, kind of doing the same sorts of things you were doing. And then also when you look at Gunnar Henderson and Mateo and these guys up the middle that can really get after it now, I think that's how you begin a great rebuild.
Brian, as far as the way the team is built right now, it's a lot of youth, as we have discussed, and you are well aware because you worked with the guys. There are a bunch of kids right now. It's kind of, I don't know, a team-friendly assembled bunch of guys in terms of, their contract situation. Is this the window right now for this team to seize their opportunity before the big bucks have to start rolling in? Because eventually Adley and Gunnar, and you go down the line of younger players, Mountcastle, Mullins, their payday's coming.
Yeah, you mean you don't think they're going to be able to maintain a $5 million payroll for a long period of time?
I don't think it'll last that long in these days in the major leagues. And I know you're being a little facetious for those not watching on YouTube.
Now, the difficult part, yes, is that in 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, when everything's peaking and continues to peak, yeah, you have to pick and choose who you're going to retain and how much you're going to be willing to fork over in free agency or possibly before. I mean, obviously the ideal situation is to lock some of these guys up a little bit earlier, maybe save yourself some money on the back end.
Hold that thought, B-Rob. We got more coming up from Brian Roberts here on the Adam Jones podcast just ahead. But first, let's hear from our dedicated sponsors. The Adam Jones podcast is brought to you by the locally owned and operated Miss Shirley's Cafe, an award-winning breakfast, brunch, and lunch restaurant with 3 locations in Maryland. It has been featured on Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and Triple D Nation, as well as Travel Channel's Food Paradise. Miss Shirley's Cafe has also been named Maryland's favorite restaurant by the Restaurant Association of Maryland. Visit Miss Shirley's Cafe in Roland Park, Inner Harbor, or Annapolis, or head to MissShirleys.com. Also brought to you by BMW of Towson, home of the best service department in all of Baltimore. They're easily located just off York Road and exit 26A on I-695. BMW of Towson, Adam knows, is very customer friendly. So is Be More Round Town. Head to BeMoreRoundTown.com. Their tailgate is sold out for opening day, so now we're looking at these orange road trips, whether it be to Atlanta, Wrigley Field, San Francisco. They're going to Napa Valley during that trip. Even Yankee Stadium, again, BeMoreRoundTown.com. Also, the good folks at the Wyman Group. I understand Mandy is a heck of a rapper. Can't wait to see that video on this podcast once we get her explicit written permission. Also by Jack Daniels, 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Yes, it's true. Jack Daniels Tennessee whiskey, made with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Please drink responsibly. Whiskey specialty, 7% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, Lynchburg, Tennessee. By G-Leaf Medical Cannabis Company. Head to gleaf.com. They have free delivery for qualified Maryland patients. And to celebrate the Orioles home opener, the Banner is making all their stories and all their coverage available for free, both April the 6th and the 7th. The Banner expanding its sports coverage to become your elite source of pro sports news, analysis, and commentary. Don't miss this limited time opportunity. Visit their website, thebaltimorebanner.com today, and sign up for the sports letter newsletter called The Point. And we're back right now with Brian Roberts here on the Adam Jones podcast.
What's your best opening day memories throughout your career? What's your best opening day memories?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say one of them would probably be at the end of 2005 when I tore my elbow in half, coming back and being able to run down the red carpet or the orange carpet in 2006. That was huge for me. I didn't know if I'd ever even play again, probably after I walked off the field in Yankee Stadium that year. So that was a really good one. And then I probably later, like 2012, 13, when we thought that we were going to be good and we knew we had a chance to go win. Some of those years running down the orange carpet, that you knew that was going to be the highlight of the year. And in those years, in 12, 13, that sort of time period, we knew we had a chance to actually do something. And so running down the carpet when you have a chance to maybe go to the playoffs, there's a little more excitement and energy involved.
Hey, I did want to ask you, as far as some of these rule changes, you were a prominent base dealer back in the day. It seems like they're back in vogue right now. Do you think it's because of the pitch clock? the bases being bigger? Because some have suggested you have a shorter path now, B-Rob, because the bases are a little bit bigger. That adds, a few inches. No jokes being made there about adding a few inches, but the fact that they are doing that, and with the pitch clock, which do you think adds to the base stealing more?
I think it is a combination of everything, to be honest with you. Talking to a lot of these guys during spring training and going over the rules and seeing, yes, even though it may only be a half an inch total or something like that, it still makes it. Think about the bang bang plays that you're out by literally a half an inch. So that's part of it. I think limiting the pickoff moves is big. If you can only throw over twice in an at bat, and one of them is even a step off or something like that, that's huge. If I knew a guy only had 2 to burn, that's an advantage as a base runner. And then thirdly, the pitch clock. You have a visual of when that guy has to go to the plate, and so I think it brings the advantage to the base runner, and the fact that you can time when that guy's going to have to go to the plate even more so. There's not a lot of holding going on. They can't sit there and hold, step off, pick over. You can't freeze a base runner nearly as much as you used to be able to. In spring training, though, there was a few instances, obviously, that brought a lot of things to our attention, talking to Brandon Hyde and other guys. The last thing you really want is a pitch clock or something like that to change the entire outcome of a game. We joked around and joking, but not joking. Like, what if you're in New York and Aaron Judge is up in the bottom of the 8th or bottom of the 9th, and it's 2 outs and a full count, and who's going to be the umpire that's going to punch him out to end the game because he didn't get in the box at 8 seconds, or he wasn't ready, or the pitcher that walks a guy? It happened in spring training while we were watching a game. One of the guys on the other team, I think it was Mountcastle, maybe walked because of a time violation. Then the next guy hits a double and scores. It can change the entire outcome of the game. I like the fact that it picks up the pace, but I think there's a time, as you guys are saying, that maybe the game just needs to be played the way it has always been played, and don't worry about the time so much. Maybe that's 7th through the 9th or 8th and 9th or whatever it might be.
I don't know if you listened to our few episodes prior, but you're the reason why I made a lot of money. Your 56 doubles, I highlighted that. Your 56 doubles was the reason why I made the All-Star. You led off the game or the 3rd inning, whatever, with a double. You stole 3rd. All I had to do was not strike out. And the reason in today's game, as a stolen base guy like you, with 4.5 inches, that's massive.
Man, yeah, you don't have to tell me. I'm 5'4", bro. That would have made me 5'8.5".
I'm just saying, like that would. I think that's gonna with 2 pickoffs. You would invite him to pick you off because he can't get you.
Absolutely,
and then he can't pick off anymore. The 3rd time he has to get you. I remember you yo-yoing. You just yo back and forth. There's no chance in this era. You're an 80, 90 guys stolen base in your prime, because again, the guys can pick off 6 times in a row, and I'm hitting like, damn, but they tire me out. And I'm like, damn, you like, and you still anyway. Like with 2, they're gone. This new generation of these new rules would benefit you big time.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. Talking to the guys in spring training, I brought up the point that you brought up a minute ago. And I said, with you, as well as even before you, with Melvin Moore and Miguel Tejada, when I was leading off and things, like they talk about stealing 3rd. I said, dude, why wouldn't you want to steal 3rd? Said Mullins was one of the guys who says, I'm already in scoring position. I don't want to risk, making it out. I said, dude, first of all, the guys behind you, they will love you if you steal 3rd with less than 2 outs. There's nothing greater than hitting with a man on 3rd and less than 2 outs. Like it's game changing. And so, that to me is the beautiful part, is that these guys now have an opportunity in a way that is easier. And as we've already seen so far this season, the success rate has gone through the roof of stolen bases. And I think it's going to continue that way. And so now the percentage of getting thrown out is going down, And the opportunity, I think organizations and teams that were afraid of giving up and out and those sorts of things are starting to see the reward in it. I know Joe Madden, 5, 6, 7 years ago said respect 90, right? Because every 90 feet is so important. And you can get to from either first to second or second to third with a stolen base. I just don't think you can put a value on that. I think it's enormous.
Yeah, 56 doubles, man.
I want to take away from baseball, and I just want to ask about how's Coach Mike doing? I know it was a somber winter this year, with losing our parents and all that. But how's Coach Mike doing? He's always been, when I came around, I always seen Coach Mike, always there. And he would tell me, hey, son, this is how you get the ball here. You want to throw the ball this way. Always giving tips to us. I'm like, hey, who the hell is this man out here talking to me? How's Coach Mike doing?
Dude, he is 73 and crazy as ever. Like, I don't know. I have not found his pill box yet, but I'm looking for it because whatever he has got, I need it bad. He loves coaching, man. He's actually working for the Pirates this year, and then he'll go back to Cape Cod and coach all summer. And I run into somebody on a baseball field at least every day, and they're like, hey, tell your dad I said hello. I'm like, well, where do you know him from? I played for him in the Cape. I'm like, that dude's crazy. And he goes, bro, I've never seen so much energy in my life. So, yeah, he's doing awesome. Thanks for asking.
That leads me into my
Mike's
question.
Awesome. Tell him I said hello, man.
Yeah, that kind of leads me into my question, AJ, because I always wondered, Brian, your dad being a legendary coach that he was and still is these days, you never had that ambition?
Oh, man. That was too much to live up to for me. I would have been a terrible coach. No, actually, I love the aspect and the thought of coaching. I do. I just not at this stage of my life. I got 3 young boys. I traveled for 8 months a year for 15, 20 years, and I'm not ready to do that right now. So we'll see what happens. Right now, I spend a lot of time on the golf course with my boys, and I'm good with that.
Love it.
All right. Well, yeah. Adam, you got anything else? Because he's been gracious with his time, and we know he's got a golf course to hit.
Time, B-Rob. Yeah, you got to get out to Longboat or either one. Longboat, concessions. I know you guys got all kind of.
Yeah, we're headed to all of them. Hey, man, I'd do anything for AJ, so appreciate it.
All right, we'll catch up during the season. Yeah, we'll touch base during the season. Thanks for joining us. Great guy to have on the podcast, and your career paths crossed.
Here's the thing: is when you work hard and you're successful at something, you deserve the reciprocation on the back end. And we give our bodies to these sports, and B-Rob is 8-9 years older than I am, and he's 10 years out of it. I'm 2 years out of it. It just shows that when it comes to athletes, we retire in our 30s. When it comes to financial people, when it comes to lawyers, it comes to the main world. I'm not just labeling the best professions. The main world retires a lot later. So when I'm traveling, I tell these people Phil Anthony retired. They're like, huh? Well, how are you saying these 5-star results? I don't want to say how I'm retired, but then I end up saying how I'm retired.
Well, the hard work is paid off, literally. You enjoy the rest.
100%.
You enjoy the rest of wherever you are.
I didn't work this hard to stay at the Hampton Inn. I didn't work this hard to stay at the Hampton Inn. I can tell you that shit right now. I know.
All right, let's get to For the Birds. And I did want to talk some more baseball after having B-Rob on the program. And the food experiences at these major league stadiums, Adam, has become a really big thing. I know a lot of the respective teams put out their new cuisines. You were infamous for always staying hungry before, during, and after games. Did you ever eat during a baseball game, by the way? And did you ever have a bad experience before a game that maybe almost prevented you from playing in the game?
No, never had food poisoning, knock on wood.
Thankfully.
But no, I've went to every ballpark and I've tasted everything of every ballpark. Not necessarily they have 10 different things, no, but I definitely have tasted 2 to 3 items at each ballpark. And most infamously, last postseason, I did the San Diego and Philly series. So at all the restaurants in San Diego, I just knocked each one off. But I know everyone personally because they're normal restaurants. At Philly, they had all these just historical places. And I'm drawing blanks on the names right now, but it was so good and fattening. But it's terrible food that's served at these ballparks. And again, since I played so long, I sit in the stands and I always look at people eating a big hot dog and hamburger, nachos, and as you know, when I go to sporting events, I get that. I get a big hot dog, nachos, and that's I want that sports experience. But when you go to some stadiums, they have like really, really good food, and like the Yankee Stadium's legends. Oh, my
All
wife
right.
just explains that to me too much, and I'm like, oh.
Well, don't give it away too much because let's get to Adam Jones' big board of top stadium foods. We'll go from, I don't want to say worst to first, but we've given you 5 choices. Let's start at number 5.
All right, well, number 5. Again, trust me, this was very, very hard to choose from. I wanted so much food because I'm a fatty. All right, number 5, I'm gonna start with dessert. I'm a fatty. PB&J churros. It's served at the Rogers Center in Toronto. What? What? Are you kidding me? I love churros and then peanut butter and jelly. I mean, that's heaven on earth to me too. I ate a lot of those in the minor leagues. Wasn't in the minor leagues too long, but I ate a lot while I was there. Number
PBJ
4.
sandwiches or churros back in the minor leagues?
Oh, PBJ sandwiches.
Okay,
Churros,
that's what I thought.
that's
Right.
expensive. Yeah, that's
On a
really
minor
expensive.
league budget, yeah.
Yeah, no chance. Number 4, if you know me, you know I like to travel. And you know I love my Latin people. Beef empanadas. Obviously, empanadas, I believe, are from Argentina, in that region. Beef empanadas served at Coors Field. What?
Really?
Yes.
Denver.
Yes. All right. Yes. You probably need to eat those Rocky Mountain oysters. That's what you need to go have. Number
I don't know
3.
about those. I'd rather have the beef jerky version. All right. Moving to number 3.
Number 3 will be the Seattle's Chick Boom. So when you're in center field or in the whole stadium, you just get this whole whiff of garlic fries. Garlic. And like, I love garlic. Like chicken tenders and fries. It's the perfect match for me. I've had them at the stadium. They're amazing. I started my career there. I had them when I was a pea green, just getting called up. Phenomenal. Okay? Phenomenal. And my cousins, my brother, they be always getting them in the stands. I'll be mad. Number 2, the Yankee Stadium. It's the Bronx Burrito. Barbacoa, rice, beans. Mm-hmm.
Now, is that something the commoners can get, or do you have to go to the Legends Club?
Yeah. No. This is all commoners' food. This is commoners. That's kind of mean. This is all paid attendance people. They can get these foods.
That was my word.
You know me. You know I love a burrito. Being from San Diego and grew up around the Mexican culture, like burritos are just second nature and second heaven to me. And then number 1 is the absolute obvious.
Hold on, we need a drum roll. Okay. There it is. Go ahead. Number 1.
Boog Pow.
Really?
Are you kidding me? What?
You think that is the best barbecue? As a man who has traveled the world?
I didn't say that the best barbecue. I said ballpark.
Okay.
So this man came to me in 2009 and said, "Son, you want to hit some damn home runs? Had this sandwich. Beautiful, beautiful big turkey sandwich with this spicy sauce on it, and propelled me to hit some more home runs. And I tell everybody, every 4th inning, just a nice breeze of Boogs comes across my face in center field, or came across my face. Now it goes across Mullen's face, and I was infatuated for a little bit. If they hit me the ball in the 4th inning, if you go back and look at the tape, I probably made my most mistakes in the 4th inning because I was just mesmerized by Boog.
All right. Well, that's a very fascinating list, and I know you have an affinity for Boogs, as I do too. I just didn't know it would be number 1. I was hoping it wasn't going to be the avocado fries at Fenway Park.
It's a turkey sandwich, though. It's Boog's turkey sandwich for me with the spicy sauce. For me.
Gotcha. Okay.
For me.
All right. Well, in a future episode, I think we're going to come up with the 5 worst items you've had at a ballpark
100%.
near you.
Ooh.
There's a tease for a future edition. All right, let's turn our attention to football. And I have to ask you about what's going on with Lamar Jackson. Since we last spoke, requested a trade. It doesn't seem imminent, in my opinion. Now, one team has shown legitimate interest. They're putting out odds right now, like teams like the Falcons and Colts and Lions, who all need quarterbacks, are odds favorites to get him. But for me, Adam, I don't think the Ravens are going to give him up for just a pair of draft picks. They're going to he's worth at least 3 first-round draft picks. So if I'm the Ravens, I either hold on to him or wait for that sweetheart deal.
I mean, he's 26, but something needs to happen soon. I mean, I know free agency and all that's looming, but something needs to happen soon. Aaron Rodgers is prolonging this trade. Just like, dude, you said you want to play for him. Like, just get the damn thing done. You probably already got a new apartment in New York anyway. Same with Lamar. Like, you gave him a non-exclusive tag. That means that you told him to go out there and see what he can get. That means you didn't want to retain him if you didn't have to. That's what that means. And they just need to either lock in a deal, say he's playing, sever ties.
Well,
That's it.
I just think
something.
It's going to drag on, I think. He's under contract, and I just don't think he has the leverage that maybe he thinks he has right now because he's under contract, and he can blame his union for that. I think, the way the NFL players have set things up, and then he ambushed his coach during his press conference. I think that was calculated and well calculated on his part to do that. I don't think the Ravens don't feel a little bit of animosity towards that because my source told me they do, but that's business, and that's the way it is right now. It's a business situation, and it's dividing the fan base, unfortunately.
Oh, big time. I mean, people just, but I think it is, but I don't think it is at the same time. People just want a resolution.
Yeah,
that's all people want. There's like, is he gonna go? Is he gonna stay? Either way, like, we're still gonna support the Ravens. That's how we were talking with Bill Roden last week about, he's like, look it, and just talking just to older guys. There's like, no matter what, the name on the front, the fan will love more, longer, no matter what. So players come and go, the team doesn't. You know what I mean? So people love Lamar. I bought Lamar Jackson. As soon as he goes, get a new quarterback, you'll still see jerseys there, but it's going to be a new wave, and people are going to just move on. That's how sports are. People moved on from Flacco like that. San Francisco moved on from Joe Montana like that. That's sports, man. It is what it is. Certain cities can't move on in certain ways because the person replacing them probably isn't as good. I mean, like, look at the Yankees. Didi went to go replace Jeter for a couple years. He did really, really well. But you're talking about somebody who did it for 20 years. You'll never be able to replace the captain. I think Lamar Jackson replaced Flacco pretty well, win an MVP. Obviously didn't win a Super Bowl like Flacco. Who's going to come to Baltimore and replace Lamar? Unless you do a trade to another team and get somebody who's already, like, in the league and formidable, because a backup sure in the hell ain't going to do it.
Well, that is a conundrum.
And Baltimore don't like a rebuild.
No.
Baltimore does not like a rebuild for football. For baseball, they've understood it. They've been in the dog days since '97. We had a spurt, but football, there's no rebuild in Baltimore for football. Somebody will get hurt in Baltimore.
Yeah, in the Ravens' history, there hasn't been such a thing called a rebuild as the Orioles have gone through successfully, seemingly. And we'll see how this plays out, as we keep saying. But again, I expect Lamar Jackson to be with the Ravens as we speak right now. He's been very vocal on social media. And speaking of social media, that brings us to Twitter, as Adam takes a sip to get ready for this segment here. And the world's richest man, Elon Musk, is asking us, people like you and me that have these blue check marks, to pay to keep our blue check marks for a year. I guess it's $84 for a year, which isn't a whole lot of money. But I have to say, I agree with guys like LeBron James. Yes, I'm agreeing with LeBron, and Patrick Mahomes. Both have said, forget it. I'm not paying. And neither am I, and neither are you.
Hell no. Okay? I'm not paying. Hey, I tweet how I tweet, Instagram on Instagram. I'm not paying to do. It's a free service. Now, if I was trying to get followers or do this or how the ads work, yeah, but I'm not paying just to have the service. Take it away. I don't give a damn. It'd probably be better. Someone explained Twitter to me in the best form. They said, remember when we was in school, all the smart kids were in AP classes? Mm-hmm. Now everybody's in the same class.
Right. Everyone's a genius.
Everyone's in the same class. No, that's not the part you got, because AP classes are very small. Twitter's big.
Here's some facts, though, that I wanted to pass along from a website called socialmedia.com. Most of the Twitter content comes from about 22% of Americans. Roughly 10% of those users are responsible for 80% of the tweets. That means just 2% of Americans again, this is a survey about a year ago, were contributing to a major part of the site's dialogue. And you're going to make
2%?
those people pay 2%.
Oh, of Americans, that's it? Oh, wow.
That's it.
I thought it would have been more. Maybe our other ones are Instagram, and maybe we use that more. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of bots that are on Twitter, and just there's so many just BS accounts.
Yeah, it's a small, effective at times, highly active group of users that dominate the platform essentially.
Well, I mean, the needle doesn't move unless someone who has a needle can move it. Like if LeBron tweets, it's moved. If you tweet, somebody's gonna give you the finger.
You tweeted. You moved the needle. You moved the needle.
A little bit, not like LeBron, but a little bit. But like the most interactions do come with the athlete celebrities because people really want to know their lives, not the other way around.
Well, you moved the needle. You did move the needle when you announced and put out that teaser that you're coming back to Oriole Park at Camden Yards at some point this summer.
Yeah, I did. That was a good one.
That sort of moved the needle.
That moved the needle in a good way. I mean, I think that would boost everybody's morale. You know what I mean, in the city, because it'd be good to be back there. My kid's been wanting to go back to a game for a while, so I'm like, all right, we'll go. And I'm definitely gonna have some booze.
So it's not a big tease. You will be returning at some point. You're just
I'll
not
go
sure
back
when.
for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly the game and date and exactly like that, but I'll be there, and I'm not gonna broadcast it. I'm just gonna be there.
All right. Well, we will broadcast.
I'm gonna wear my jersey too.
We will. That would be awesome if you come in full uniform. I would pay an extra $1,000 for that. I would pay an extra $1,000 for that. I did. Actually, we can edit that out of the podcast if we have to.
My ass.
But,
nah, you said that. That goes down.
That includes spikes. But all
Reggie
this chatter.
Reggie got some spikes in my house.
Well,
there's spikes in Baltimore. There's spikes in Baltimore.
This chatter about your tweets leads us to our final segment. It's called Socially Speaking, and we're giving away not one, but two Miss Shirley's gift cards in just a moment, thanks to our friends over at Miss Shirley's, including David Dobkin, who asked some great questions but doesn't want them all broadcast. We'll have that, or Adam Jones memorabilia to give away in a future episode. All you need to do is rate the podcast. All you need to do is go on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, send us a screenshot via social media at Adam Jones Pod on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, at Adam Jones Pod, or just email us at theadamjonespod@gmail.com, and then you're eligible. All right, we have a pair of $50 Miss Shirley's gift cards to give away to 2 people who followed the instructions to a T. The first comes from Brian at BRobbie1 on Twitter. I hope that's not Brian Roberts because he's not eligible. We forgot to mention that to him. The other is from Silvio. It's Silvio Morris, I13 on Twitter. We'll start with Silvio. It reads, rated the pod 5 stars on Spotify. Huge fan of the podcast. Listen to new episodes every week. Glad retirement's treating Adam well. It seems that way. Got a chance to meet him at the World Baseball Classic. By far one of my favorite baseball memories of all time. Here's the pic we took. Thanks again, Adam. Hope to see you in Baltimore this year. And he took that picture with you as you're a man of the people at the World Baseball Classic.
Man of the people, and tell him retirement's expensive.
The next stuff from Brian Robbie, which again we confirmed I think isn't Brian Roberts. 5 stars for the podcast. What Adam did for this community when he was a member of the Orioles was nothing short of amazing, and I was one of his biggest fans. Now he's back in the Baltimore sports world with this podcast talking about local sports, among other topics, and Adam's straight-up style, bringing on local and national guests, making this very easy to listen to, and when I catch up when it gets uploaded, keep up the great work. Thanks for acknowledging me in both of those posts. I do appreciate that, Brian and Silvio, as always. And we appreciate you listening and rating the podcast 5 stars. And in the future, again, more stuff to give away, just 5 stars.
It's a team effort.
It is. And we do want to thank our sponsors. Speaking of a team effort, so go out and support these fine folks. The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by the locally owned and operated Miss Shirley's Cafe, an award-winning breakfast, brunch, and lunch restaurant with 3 locations in Maryland. It has been featured on Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. and Triple D Nation, as well as Travel Channel's Food Paradise. Miss Shirley's Cafe has also been named Maryland's favorite restaurant by the Restaurant Association of Maryland. Visit Miss Shirley's Cafe in Roland Park, Inner Harbor, or Annapolis, or head to MissShirleys.com. Also brought to you by BMW of Towson, home of the best service department in all of Baltimore. They're easily located just off York Road and exit 26A on I-695. BMW of Towson, Adam knows, is very customer friendly. So is Be More Around Town. Head to BeMoreAroundTown.com. Their tailgate is sold out for opening day, so now we're looking at these orange road trips, whether it be to Atlanta, Wrigley Field, San Francisco. They're going to Napa Valley during that trip, even Yankee Stadium. Again, BeMoreAroundTown.com. Also, the good folks at the Wyman Group. I understand Mandy is a heck of a rapper. Can't wait to see that video on this podcast once we get her explicit written permission. Also by Jack Daniels, two legends, one can, Jack and Coke, the number one cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Yes, it's true. Jack Daniels Tennessee whiskey, made with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Please drink responsibly. Whiskey specialty, 7% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniels Tennessee whiskey, Lynchburg, Tennessee. By G-Leaf Medical Cannabis Company, head to gleaf.com. They have free delivery for qualified Maryland patients. And to celebrate the Orioles home opener, the Banner is making all their stories and all their coverage available for free both April the 6th and the 7th. The Banner expanding its sports coverage to become your elite source of pro sports news, analysis, and commentary. Don't miss this limited time opportunity. Visit their website, thebaltimorebanner.com today, and sign up for the sports letter newsletter called The Point. Go out and subscribe to the Banner, as I was saying. It's out there right now, and they got a special going. And subscribe to the podcast as well. We'll be back here next week, folks. Trust us. We will be back next week. Be real, be kind, and be back here in a week for another episode of the Adam Jones Podcast. Stay safe over there, Adam.